Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me for the 12 days of Christmas. Today, we are going to be working on our Origami Goose. This one is a little complicated. I'd rate this as definitely a moderate to difficult level origami if you're a really beginner origami folder. So if you can't figure it out, just keep playing the video over and over again and just go through lots of paper. That's what I do a lot of the times. I will also include below the link to the original YouTube video, just in case you can't quite see my folds real well. Some of them are difficult to describe with words. I'll do my best, but some of them are hard to describe. So we are going to make this cute little origami goose for our 6 geese a laying, which we are not going to make 6 of them. However, you could totally make 6 of them, make 6 little nests and put them out. That'll be great fun. Or you'll have a whole bunch of crumpled up paper on your table and lots of frustration. Either way, at least you try. I am going to recommend you take pencil, crayon, marker, something, and just give the one-sided paper a little scribble. You're not going to see it when it's done, but it will let you know which is the back side of your paper, which is the front side of paper. You could use a paper that's a different color on the front and back if you happen to have that. If not, just add a little scribble to the back side of your paper so that you know which side needs to be facing in when you do your folds. So you're going to start with that scribbled side up. You're going to take this corner, you're going to fold it down here to this corner and make a nice diagonal crease. Now you do want to make sure your corners are very tight on this particular fold because those corners are going to be super important. We're going to do a lot of work focusing on those corners. So we're going to put a nice solid crease in there, crease it really tight because we're going to use that later. Then we're going to open that up. We want this point at the top so that our crease is now running up and down. You're going to take this edge and you're going to fold it down to meet this edge. So it's going to look like you're folding it in half. However, we're not going to crease it all the way down. We're only going to crease it to the one crease we already made. So we're only going to crease it about halfway down the paper because we only need a mark line. We don't actually need a full fold there. And then I'm going to recommend you rotate so that fold is now on the other side of your paper because you're going to take this corner here and you're going to fold it over to that line. But you want to make sure to keep this point as parallel as possible down here so that it is as smooth and pointy as possible. So it's not really going to go to the middle, but you're going to try and keep that point as pointy as possible. So that point will still be the epicenter of your fold, but you're going to fold it across that line. So it's not going to go quite all the way across the paper. You're going to have it just be maybe about a ½ inch or so from the edge of the paper. Then you're going to open up that flap there and you're going to take this corner, this side, and we're going to run it parallel to that crease we just made. Again, paying attention to keep that point as pointy as possible down at the bottom because that point is going to be eventually the beak of your goose. So you want to keep it as neat and tidy as possible to make that part of the goose process that much easier. And you can always wiggle and tweak it a little as you're going until you get that crease in there. It should be fairly movable. So you're going to make it run parallel to that crease, then crease it really, really well in that same spot. Just like that. You're going to open up that flap then. You're going to take this side and we're going to run it parallel to this crease here. Again, keeping sure to make that point as pointy as possible on the bottom. That corner is the epicenter of all of your folds. That's where they're kind of originating from. And it's kind of strange because all your folds are in different spots, but that corner is still the same. It's going to be as creased as possible. It's going to be as pointy as possible. You're actually going to then leave that folded like that. You're going to do the same thing on the other side. You're going to take this edge here and make sure it runs parallel to this fold, paying again attention to that point down there. And making it as pointy as possible. If it's not perfect, you will still be able to do it. It will just make things a little bit trickier further on, but it is still doable. All right, so now you have a piece of paper that looks sort of like a half-done paper airplane. We're going to rotate that so our narrow point is at the top and our wide point is at the bottom. We're going to take this wide point and we are going to fold it up along this center crease here. And we want to make sure these edges here come to a nice point. Now you're going to have some overlap on the inside of that flap. That's okay. as long as that corner is a nice sharp point, you will be fine, even if it folds over that inside, which I'll show you how that's gonna look once I get this lined up. So I got my corners lined up and I'm gonna crease across there to keep those nice and pointy. So what you'll notice is inside the bottom parts of these little flaps actually folded up. That's fine, it's actually supposed to do that. So you're gonna fold that back up. So now we have a Triforce, if you're familiar with Zelda. Also looks a little bit like the Star Trek logo, I believe. I am sorry if I got that wrong, but I believe it's the Star Trek logo, although it doesn't have the little cutout at the bottom. But it looks similar at least. Now we're going to take this corner here and we're going to fold it up to this corner here, making sure this side runs parallel to this seam that's right here. Just like that. And you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now, up to this point, it's been pretty easy, and I'm sure you're thinking, how dare she write this as a moderate to difficult? It's really not that hard, but now is where it gets a little bit tricky. I will wholeheartedly admit it took me several attempts to get these next couple of folds correct. So we've got that folded up. I'm actually going to unfold this flap and take this edge and bring it back into the center seam here, making sure that that crease is still exactly where I want it and my point is still at the top. We're going to crease that down one more time, real good, just like that. Now, we're going to open that back up and you'll see there's a line here and a line here, and you've got your crease here. What you're going to do is actually fold that crease there and this part up. So you're going to pull those in so that they're meeting up with this center line like they want to. Problem is, now I've met this point with center line and this bottom part is meeting with the center line like it wants to, but I got this weird flap thing here that's like, what am I supposed to do with it? This is where it gets tricky. You have to fold this flap in half straight up to that point that's sticking up there. So it's a little bit tricky, but the paper really wants to do that anyway. So you're just kind of helping it along, provided you've done the fold in part correctly. So now I've got this weird little flappy thing, as you can see, sticking up from my project. I'm actually going to take that flap and I'm going to fold it up so that it's running parallel to that center seam, just like that. And we're going to leave it like that. We're going to do that same thing on the other side. So you'll have another attempt to get this right. You're going to unfold this flap. You're going to take this edge, run it parallel to that center line. Make sure you're not overlapping at the top because that will make it really difficult later on. So we're going to want to make sure it is not overlapping that other side, which might mean you're actually moving your crease just a little bit, but that's okay. And then you're going to crease that down just like that. Now we're going to open up that fold. You're going to see how when you go to fold this bottom part into the center, like it wants to do, and this edge into the center, it's going to give you that same strange flap. And you're just going to keep pinching your way up that same flap to make it a nice pointy little flap. Just like that. This is an incredibly tricky little fold. It took me a while to get it sorted out. So if you need to watch the video over and over and over again, go ahead. Like I said, I've linked below the original YouTube video, and hopefully I managed to get the written directions as well, although I find those to be really confusing and not particularly helpful. So we'll see if those end up on there or not. But the original YouTube video is linked below so you can follow that along. And then I'm going to push it down so that it goes along that center line. His description might be a little better than mine. And so now we have something that looks like a very skinny little diamond shape with these two little flaps. I'm going to turn this into a bunny slipper now. You're going to take one of those little flaps here, and you're going to fold it so that this side here runs parallel. You'll see there's a small seam right here. You're going to want to run it parallel to that. So you're sort of twisting it out as you fold it, and you're going to crease that down, and you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now it looks like a bunny slipper with really wide ears. Then we're going to make it look like a bunny slipper with really narrow ears because we're going to do a very similar fold to that last one again. So now I have my little bunny slipper. I'm going to go back to the side. I'm going to unfold this flap, and I'm actually going to fold. There's a corner point down here. You're going to fold that in half along that seam you just made. So it's going to come straight across just like that along that seam, originating from this point here. Okay. Then you're going to open that back up, and you're going to do just what we did before. You're going to see the two edges that really want to come together. They're going to be trying to get together. You're going to let them go together. And while they're coming together, you're going to pinch this into a really skinny bunny ear. Like so. And then you're going to fold it back out. So let me show you the two sides so you can see this is the skinny one I just finished versus the wide one here. Okay. So let's see if I can do this holding it up so you can see it up close. So I'm going to unfold this way. I'm going to fold it so that this point gets folded in half and this seam is running parallel to here. And I'll hold it up so you can see it once that part's done. So it's going to look just like this. Okay. I'm going to crease that real good. And we're going to open that back up. And then you're going to see these sides, they already want to come together. So I'm just going to let them come together while I fold the point into a really narrow point, just right in half to a narrow point. And then I push it out to the side. So now I have a bunny slipper with two very narrow little bunny ears like that is what it looks like to me, at least. Also kind of looks a little like a tadpole. And when you flip it over, it really looks like a little tadpole. So then we're going to flip it over like that so that our two little skinny folds are on the bottom, and it does. It looks like a little tadpole, maybe a little leaf bug. You could stop there, I guess, and call it a leaf bug and call it a day if you want. But I promise it gets easier from this point. Those are probably the harder of the folds. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my skinny point, make it point to me, and my wide point at the top again. Squash that down a little bit so those folds stay real good. I'm going to take this narrow point and I'm going to fold it right up here to the wide point, like so. Crease that down. Then I'm going to take it again and I'm going to bring it back about 3/4 of the way to this fold I just made, not all the way down. Now this is a bit narrow here, so you might find you need a pin or a pencil or something to kind of keep it from folding in on itself, just to pop out those edges, or you might not. Okay, so we've done that. Now I'm actually going to open up this little fold and I'm going to, you'll see on the underside here, there's little flaps that we folded. I'm actually going to unfold those little flaps only to that point that I just folded it down. And then I'm going to squash them back out like that to give me the goose head. They should come out relatively easily. They kind of want to do that anyway. Sometimes they're more cooperative than others, and it's okay, again, if it's not perfect. Practice makes perfect, but you need a lot of practice to be perfect. So as long as it looks all right, you're good. So you're gonna end up with something that looks kind of like that. Then you're gonna fold it in half backwards. So you're gonna fold two little bunny ears together, because guess what? Those aren't bunny ears, they're the legs of your geese. So you're gonna fold it like that. Then I'm going to pull on the head of my goose and pull it up, which you'll see is gonna cause it to have almost another little seam there. Just pinch that down so that it stays neat. And I'm gonna do the same thing at the head part to get that head to stick out a little bit more. And we're almost done at this point. We just have to work on the tail. We're gonna fold our tail down like so. And then we're gonna fold it back up like so. Then we're gonna open that up and we're actually going to push that back in so that the tail itself kind of wants to pop right back up. Like so. And you're gonna push down the one fold while pushing this one up so you get the little goose tail there at the back of your goose, just like that. And if you can't do that part and your goose just has a tail that's sticking out, that's fine. So there you go. Now we got to make the goose feet, because sometimes the goose stands and sometimes it doesn't, but you're going to give it feet anyway. So you're going to go down here to the little legs and you'll see they're folded in the back here. You're going to actually open up that fold and you're just going to pinch it out, flatten it out, and then pinch it up. And that's going to be the foot of your goose. And once you've done that, you are finished. If you happen to check out the video below, the gentleman who does that video adds a bunch of other little foldy details that I felt were not necessary, because this still looks like a goose to me. But if you want to attempt to add those other little folds and make it look even a little bit more well-defined, go for it. I'm going to stop at this point here, though. There's our little goose laying. Let's see if this one stands. Oh, this one actually stands. Yay. So I hope you enjoyed watching it. Like I said, if you are struggling with it, Watch the video again and again as many times as you can. Sometimes you need a different perspective. Watch the video I posted below of the YouTube one that I found that helped me to find my way to make it, and just try your best. If you successfully manage to make a goose, or you just end up with a pile of rotten paper sitting in the middle of the table, it's fine. I'd like to see a picture anyway. So it's gonna have a picture and write our hashtag CLSV 12 days underneath it, so we can see all of the great things you guys have created throughout this entire process. I hope you're having a good time following along with us, and I hope you are enjoying the holiday season with whatever changes or no changes you've made to them, and you're having a great time. And just keep in mind, those prizes are, you can enter to win them starting at 5 points. As soon as you earn your first 5 points, you're entered into the prize, and then it's points, every point you earn after that enters you in more times. So the more activities you do, the more points you earn, the better chance you have at winning the $100 grand prize gift card to Amazon, as well as any of the 4 additional place prizes that we also have. So keep trying and enjoy what you've done so far, and I look forward to seeing what you've created. Bye.